Yeah.
But to me, I was thinking like when you started seeing that they was selling like Gucci masks and shit like that, that's not the type of shit you do for something that's around temporarily. That seemed like something that you're gonna do for something that's gonna stick around a while.
Well, people gonna make money off what they can make money off of. So I mean, hey, whether it's temporary or not, let me get these few coins off of it. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
But like I said, I knew when I saw them damn cars and it's like 8 slots on them, I was like, yeah, they not gonna leave people alone over this shit. They gonna have people getting vaccinated, probably 2 or 3. It's gonna be like what the polio vaccine, the MMR, the Tdap, and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely where we headed, because it's not getting any better. And then, like I say, you had all the illegal immigrants coming in and none of them got vaccinated, so they say. So now all these people are in country from Afghanistan, and I don't know, I think they kind of blocked the Haiti cats from coming over here.
Now, let me tell you this. Let me say this. They are bullshitting you when they're talking about undocumented people that are being here that are not vaccinated. They are probably the first ones to get vaccinated because there are a lot of FQHCs. We don't act as an FQHC. I don't ask your status. That's not my business. That's not my concern. My concern is to treat you. So if you don't have any a status or anything, most FQHCs don't ask you that because we're here for people that are underserved, who don't have money, or that are uninsured. So the COVID was free. So you had a lot of people. We had a lot of Mexicans from Mexico coming in, and a lot of Pakistans, or a lot of people that were not originally from here coming to get the vaccine because they wanted it. And there was plenty of them when you talk about our communities. Like I worked on 63rd in California.
Mm-hmm.
We had plenty of vaccines. We even had white folk come over there. We know they don't belong over there. Yeah, they have no business over there, but that's where the majority of the vaccines were. So you had a lot of people coming over there. And when you were given the vaccines, nobody asked your status. We asked for an ID card. We asked if you had insurance. If you didn't have any of that, nobody turned you away. You still got that vaccine.
Okay. Well, that's good.
And it was free too. So they didn't, they paid. So and my purpose of saying that is that when they're mentioning all this stuff, they're giving the impression that undocumented people are bringing the COVID in.
Which in turn was,
and again, it's a fear tactic.
Yeah, that makes sense because it would scare you because you got X thousands amount of people, legal immigrants and all this coming into the country and they're not getting vaccinated, then boom, they're spreading it. Well, it started that way because you had Trump, orange ass was calling it the Chinese disease. So
the Kung flu, the Chinese flu, right, and shit like that.
That type of shit. So he had already started that sort of fear. So now people were scared of Chinese people and all this other shit.
That's why all this Asian hate crimes and stuff came from.
Right. And you don't hear that no more. Whatever happened to that?
Yes, you do. Because they was trying to make it seem like it was only black people beating up the Asian people, which was dumb.
Well, but let to be fair, like I don't advocate anybody beating on anybody out of for no good reason. But the Asian community and the black community have a long-standing history
contention.
For various reasons. Like we have not had a good experience with Asians in our community. So you do have some people that they just it just is what it is, and you do have some people that actually take advantage of what's going on, and so that it's more opportunistic than it is that they actually care. But definitely, I think that some of that is just a spillover into the other things that are going on, or the other issues that we actually have with the Asian community.
Well, that sounds like what LGBT is doing with black folks, because they damn sure taking advantage. They jumping on to BLM and all that when it ain't LGBT that's getting beat down and shot by the cops. So
but if you look at BLM, though, they were founded by lesbians.
Yeah, right, there it is.
And if you look at their mission, statement and stuff on their website, their proceeds go to LGBTQ shelter, whatever, TIQH, whatever, right. Homeless shelters. So all the stuff that people send in for Black Lives Matter is going to help the all the alphabet people. Fuck it.
Because we don't want to do shit on our own, and we let motherfuckers come in and take advantage. And they, you know, oh, okay, well, we down with this and all this and that, and they the ones that's getting all the shit.
But that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing new. They did that with the Black women in the feminist movement.
Oh, yeah.
We had the fucking feminist movement.
Straight up. You know, it was just something I just noticed that just went right along with what Alicia was saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, that shit ain't nothing new. We gonna stay getting played because we can't goddamn it, peep game when it's right in front of our face. You know. But oh well, I mean, shit, life goes on, I guess. I mean, you know, what else can you do?
No, I mean, I think that the big, again, I'll say this until the end. Our biggest problem is that we try to be so inclusive of everybody to our detriment. Like Black people don't want to give the perception that we're excluding anybody. So we include everybody, and every time we include anybody that does not necessarily share our vision. Meaning, not let me take that back, not share our vision, but anybody who is not directly affected, like Black people for Black people. And that's all we're talking about. We're not talking about sexuality. We're not talking about anything else other than what we're talking about as a Black people as a whole. We seem to let people that want to get involved, Hispanics, whites, women groups, feminists, the alphabet people, we let them all get involved. And what tends to happen is they hijack what we're doing.
Yep. And
so they get the numbers because we're all there and we're there for this particular reason. Then they start speaking like I will never understand why. And when we're talking about our issues, we have people that don't look like us speaking at our rallies or spearheading things that are essentially about us and what we're asking for. But then we wonder why when legislation gets passed or when you know bills are being laid out, we're not included in there, or we're so far removed from what's going on because we've allowed people basically to hijack our shit.
Mm-hmm. And look at this. Now it's not even Black people. It's a whole term called BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We don't even have our own fight anymore because we, like you said, we so inclusive. Now everybody's struggle is our struggle when that is completely the furthest thing from the fucking truth.
I ain't even heard of that. What's it called again, Eb?
BIPOC is Black, Indigenous, people of color. Now, don't get me wrong. I sympathize and I commiserate with Indigenous people. Because to be honest with you, they had it just as bad as us because they are pretty much wiped out. And they tried to make them slaves first, but they were too weak. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
But the other side of it is Indigenous people. You don't hear about them drive-by shooting and selling dope and all this stuff.
Now some of us are Indigenous. Like some of us are Indigenous.
Indeed. But
some of us are Indigenous.
But we identify as Black. So we're going to get treated as Black when we fill out a job application, a college application, any type of anything. We're going to check the Black box, even if we are Indigenous. So we're going to get treated like what we say we are. So
but now that's the thing. I'm on TikTok more than I am on Facebook now.
Okay.
And now the big thing is all Black people, we were here before slavery.
Okay.
We were Indigenous. That's bullshit. Now, true enough, there were a lot of us that were here before. But no, nigga, you can't. I mean, come on now. Because what a lot of people don't know is a lot of them Native American tribes wasn't fucking with Black folks either. The Cherokees,
right.
They had slaves.
Right. But who didn't?
Well, yeah, that's true.
That's the other side of the coin. So at the end of the day, I mean, even it's people all over the world right now that would rather be anything else than to be Black. That's the truth. Even though they know that their grandparents and all these other people, they have roots to Black people, they would still much rather identify as anything other than Black. That's the reality we're dealing with. But then on the same coin, we want to include everybody else or allow everybody else in our shit. And then we wonder why we're not advancing nowhere. Because nobody want to work with us. Are we really, at the core of it, what we should be trying to do is depend on one another and just keep it in-house. You know what I'm saying? Because at least then, you know, it's all us, it's all our hands in it. Ain't no outsiders in it. You know, we should be protecting that so we can get things accomplished as a people. But once you start including in LGBT and indigenous and fucking turtles and fucking wolverines and shit, well, they're gonna all get a piece. They're gonna get a piece of some shit that could have went to you. It was this shit that happened before. It was the same thing. Like it was a point in time where Irish folks and Polish people was referred to as niggas.
Sure was.
Right. So during that time, when the so-called Americans was giving out little benefits in here and there, then the Irish motherfucker said, okay, well, we go identify, we'd rather be white. So it's like a class thing. And it still is a class thing to be black.
Irish and Italians they really did not become white until the 1940s.
Right. Right. Then that was because they was discriminated against too. Motherfuckers weren't fucking with the Irish or the Polish or the Italians if they was American, so-called American. They wasn't fucking with them. They was talking about them and doing all this other shit to them too. But then now it's a thing where they're accepted as white, and before, during, and after, we were still black. You see what I'm saying? So that's what we need to keep in mind when we going out here. We want legislation passed and we want this done or that done. We need to focus on us. Because shit, them motherfuckers ain't living in our neighborhoods. They don't give a fuck, but they'll come around if they can get a couple extra benefits. They'll come around and play the role. And shit, goddamn it, take what they can get and go back to wherever they was at prior to. We got a minute left. I see Alicia had cut out. We got a minute left. So I'm gonna take and I'm gonna send out the second link, and then we're gonna roll forward on the second one with the toxic relationships. Maybe we'll take and throw the video that you sent in there. And
okay.
And we could kind of break that down. Maybe we can get John or Mika. I see Mika seen it, but I know like they be late sometimes, so maybe they'll pop in on the next one.
They be having little kids and stuff, so you know they got to get them situated.
Fair enough. I mean, you know, we be here for a nice amount of time, so you know, I figured they'll pop in. Either way, we still gonna roll forward. But yeah, well, I ain't said this. Well, I think I said this last episode. Well, it's the Uncommon Sense Show. This is the first segment. You know, we get a little sidetracked, but it's cool. It's organic, and we always got something good to say. So we'll be back at y'all in a couple of minutes with the next episode, part 2 of our toxic relationship episode. So we kind of got to talking about politics and shit like that. But